At a certain point in your career as an artist, you would like to exhibit and sell your works, and even make a living from your art. Considering the crucial role of art galleries in the art market as the direct link between artists and the art world, they are the perfect business partner. Finding gallery representation can be a career-changing event for an artist, resulting in recurring exhibitions and sales. However, the path to achieving this milestone can seem daunting, especially for artists who are new to galleries and the art world. This video series will demystify this process, providing practical advice and sharing proven strategies. So, how do you get your art in a gallery? In our previous chapters, we have already talked about why it is so counterproductive to submit portfolios to galleries or to simply ask for exhibitions. We have also discussed what you need to take care of to be 100% ready for art gallery representation, and also how they can find you instead of vice versa. All the things you can do to get noticed by art galleries. Today, in this final chapter of our video series, we're going to talk about how you can actively work with art galleries, how you can initiate the contact via networking and even via a direct approach that is acceptable. Networking is perhaps the most powerful strategy. Unfortunately, artists often dread it the most because not everyone has the right people skills to be successful at networking, and it's also very time-consuming and somewhat intimidating. Even though the so-called breadcrumb strategy, in which galleries are able to find you and initiate the contact themselves, if you want to speed up this process, we can increase the likelihood of being in touch with these galleries, with these gallery directors, via some networking. The thing you need to understand is we can never predict where our next exhibition or client is coming from, but it always comes from your network, directly or indirectly. Therefore, to streamline this dreaded career strategy, it is time to set some goals or to set some guidelines to do the networking as efficiently as possible and also as successfully as possible. First and foremost, perhaps even the most important part before networking is finding the right art center to network. We really want to avoid so-called art islands. As illustrated in the paper of Quantifying Success and Reputation in Art, there are numerous art islands who are isolated from the rest of the art world. And if we find our way via networking into those art scenes, we're very unlikely to continue that progress and end up in another art scene later on. They might be easier to navigate, to see who's who and to get into, but they're also places where you can get stuck. Instead, we want to look for large up to medium-sized art centers that preferably are relatively nearby, let's say within a 5-hour driving distance. If this is not possible, many of the career strategies via networking can also happen online, thanks to social media and in particular Instagram. However, one day we will have to cultivate those contacts in real life. So the closer those art centers are in proximity, the better. If you're curious which medium-sized art cities could be a good option, feel free to have a look at our video and article on the top 30 art cities in the world, including the big 5, followed by 25 more medium-sized art cities. Now, within this city, we kind of need to map the landscape. So we want to identify the high-end but entry-level art galleries. Art galleries that are really part of the art world, but are still achievable for us to enter. A great way to find art galleries in your city is either simply via a Google search, or perhaps more efficiently to also kind of see the level via artifacts. With artifacts, you can also have a gallery ranking. So if you simply enter your city, you get a list of art galleries and you can kind of start at the bottom, but I would advise you to be around 2,500 globally. If you go lower, chances are they might be a little bit more outside of the art world. Nevertheless, you can also simply do this via Google search and by having a look at their website and some of the key indicators to identify a good gallery, and also simply by having a look at the artist, you can also see which galleries could be a good fit for you. Even more, you want to look for art galleries that are not only a good fit level-wise, but also the type of art they predominantly have in the program. Some galleries love abstract art, others love more representational art, others love more experimental art. As a result, it's very important that the taste of the gallery director aligns with your art, because most likely this will also be the taste of their collectors. So your art has a chance to do well in that gallery. So by identifying those galleries, we also want to identify the artists in their program that you genuinely like, and preferably artists who are slightly above you. And we want to connect with these artists, we want to support them, and the artists will appreciate it, but also their galleries. Even more, you can grow together with these artists if you build a personal connection. And it's a lot easier to network with artists than, for instance, with galleries or collectors who are being bombarded by requests from other artists. Other artists are on the same foot, especially if their level is just above you. Of course, if you want to do this with blue chip artists, then you're less likely to be successful with the strategy, but who knows. Within this art scene, you could also identify some other actors, for instance, writers of local art magazines, some curators, or perhaps even some well-known collectors within that region. Write all these contacts down, in particular the artists, of course, and put them in your central contact list, because we were going to use that contact list to go through our networking strategies. First, you want to use Instagram to network from a distance. It makes also the networking a lot less intimidating. You can build up a relationship with your contacts online before cultivating those in real life when heading to the city center to visit a couple of openings, for instance. Those connections with other artists are crucial to then enter the network of their galleries, for instance. By doing so, you have someone who can introduce you. You can become a familiar face without having to introduce yourself as an artist. Be patient, consistent, professional, and if possible also charismatic. Support them and engage with them in real life and on Instagram, and by being on their radar in their direct environment or simply popping up in their Instagram feed, your chances to discuss a collaboration will increase, which can occur with our next strategy. So this first strategy, which I would like to call more organic networking, works very well to increase the chances of a discussion about your art with the right people. However, we can also initiate it ourselves via a direct approach. Now, you might think that this is exactly what we have said you not to do in our very first chapter when discussing cold calling art galleries. However, in certain situations, you can initiate the collaboration without stepping on any toes. The first option is, of course, by getting to know the gallery director personally via your networking. When you have had multiple chats in the gallery, for instance, by supporting them and by going to their openings. And they also, for instance, follow you back on Instagram, showing an interest in you. At that point, they will know that you are an artist without you having to tell them. So if they ask what you've been up to, you can briefly discuss what you have been doing as an artist, but that you do not want to force your way into their program by all means. However, if they would be interested, you can simply say that your door is open for them for a studio visit or perhaps to discuss a group show. A carefully calculated solicitation, or simply letting them know that you are willing to work with them. A more aggressive and direct way to initiate a collaboration is when you have something very specific to offer to the gallery. For instance, there is an organic demand for your works, or you have a very large following resulting in numerous price requests, then you can bring this to the table and use it as leverage to find good gallery representation. Or perhaps you have been an artist for a number of years, that's let's say around 10 years, and you have really built your own clients, your own collectors, and you also know that if you have a show, that they will show up and they will deliver, they will purchase new works. As soon as you have this organic demand or these steady sales, then you must be aware of your position of power and use it to your advantage to go to the next level by contacting galleries, good galleries directly. In this case, you really want to do your research first to ensure the gallery is a good fit. Do they pay well? Do they have a PR agency for press exposure for their artists? Do they participate in international art fairs, etc.? Contact the gallery in person and state that you have outgrown your current situation as an artist and are looking for high quality representation to take care of your current ongoing sales. And this part is of course very crucial to gather their attention. Ask with whom and when you could discuss this in person. This brings us to the third strategy, and it's also kind of a mindset, focusing on investing in long-term collaborations. One might think that it is a very bad move to give art galleries 50% of those sales, the organic demand due to your Instagram following, or by sharing the sales of your collectors that you have built up over the past few years. However, if we think beyond this short-term income, and if this 50% ensures new exhibitions in the foreseeable future for more recurring sales with clients you would not have, because you share your clients, but the gallery also shares their clients and their power. Then you don't have to represent yourself, and it will in the end pay off in the long term. However, if you provide, for instance, 3 sales and have to share it 50-50 with the gallery, but due to that show they also find 3 collectors that buy your work, then it's already break even. And if it's not, but it results in a new exhibition where they will find finally those collectors, then in the end it will certainly pay off. You will encounter new people and new recurring collectors. Increase your credibility with representation and recurring shows, more press exposure, and thus more momentum and progress when it comes to the bigger picture of climbing that ladder of success in the art world. Therefore, we always want to share our sales with our gallery partners to ensure the continuation of that collaboration. Even more, if you have an upcoming show, you want to do everything you can to make sales happen. By doing so, you can show and convince the galleries that there's something in your art and that you're in this together and that it's worth representing you. Show them that you are a team player and that the choice to represent you is a lucrative decision, because in the end they also need to pay the bills. If the work is good and fits with the gallery, because we have done some good targeting in advance, then the sales via the gallery will also happen. Other ways to invest in long-term collaborations are, for instance, by transparently sharing your collectors list, supporting the other artists within the program, or perhaps gifting work to them personally at the end of a show, or simply by having good personal contacts in the art world in general. Think of having good press contacts and using them to support the gallery. They will appreciate it and reward you for it. And if they don't, despite these efforts for a long-term collaboration, then it is very clear that these are not the people you want to work with. So if that is the case, then this was also valuable, and you have done everything you could. You only have to draw your conclusions and leave and invest in a new business partner that is worth it. The bottom line is, do not only focus on finding the perfect gallery to work with. Focus on becoming the perfect artist for galleries to work with. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Feel free to watch last week's video next. Support us on Patreon and please consider subscribing to stay posted for more contemporary art. Bye.